Welcome, dear biology teachers. The difficult topic for the month of August is the subtopic 7.1.1, the importance of variation from class 10. This subtopic discusses about variations, definitions of variations, cause for variations and their significance, learning objectives to be achieved by the student after completion of this subtopic. Student explains the significance of DNA copying, defines variations, ecosystems, and niche, analyzes the reasons for variations, changes in niche, and significance of reproduction in maintaining stability in the populations, hypothesize the consequences of an alteration in the niche. What are the TLM required? Images of eukaryotic cell, nucleus, and chromosomes. Diksha content relevant to this topic. We can easily access this content by scanning the QR code provided at the title of the topic. Charts relevant to the topic. And before starting the subtopic, we should know what are the prior concepts or skills acquired by the student by this time. Those are differences between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Nucleus possesses chromatin material, DNA, chromosomes. Germ cells or gametes are produced during sexual reproduction. Now we can start the class by welcoming the students, motivating them to learn the new topic. We can pose questions like this. Do all humans look similar? In what ways do they look similar? They may answer that all humans possess one head, two hands, one trunk, and two legs attached to this trunk. They stand straight on the land like this. And now the question is, do all the members in your family exactly look alike? They can say that no. All puppies born to parents look exactly similar? Again, the answer will come as no. And then the question is, do you want to know how individuals of a group of organisms similar in structures but not copies of one another exactly? So this is the motivational questions to learn the new topic. Now, coming to the hook activity. Hook activity is the engaging activity of the engaged phase of the period that leads children to learn the current topic. What is hook activity? Divide the students into two groups and give each of the group a questionnaire. The first questionnaire is, what is the transmission of characters from one generation to another called? Which part of our body is responsible for the above? And the next group will get these questions. What is the need for a nucleus in a cell? What is the main component a nucleus possesses? And what is its role in cell division? Give them 5 minutes to prepare their responses and share them in the classroom. The responses given by the students can be concluded like this. The nucleus plays a key role in cell division. Nucleus and chromatin material or DNA are responsible for the transmission of characters from one generation to the next. Even they may answer the transmission of characters from one generation to next is called heredity. Now we can present a picture like this and we can pose the question, why do the puppies not look like exactly alike, though they come from the same parents? And again, presenting another picture like this. This picture shows different hair patterns. Ask them, why do different hair colors and patterns exist in humans? Ask them to think of these questions. They may answer or may not answer, or they may hypothesize something about this. And now the exploration phase of the period. I will use a video clip to introduce variations. What causes inheritance of characters and variations? By the end of this clip, you can define chromosomes, DNA and genes. Explain the causes for variations and give examples of variations in humans. Almost all eukaryotic cells contain a nucleus. Nucleus is the prominent spherical structure in the cell. It contains chromosomes. Chromosomes are the packs of DNA, a thread-like structure. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is a molecule that appears to be a double helical structure under an electron microscope. In DNA molecule, two strands of nucleotides arranged parallel to each other with one another, forming a ladder-like structure. Genes are the segments of DNA containing the information of our traits like black hair color and brown hair color. If a cell wants to divide and form another cell, it should distribute its DNA material to the new cell, so that before undergoing cell division, the cell has to duplicate all of its components, including the DNA. Imagine the scanning process of a page occurs in a printer. Just like that, a copy of DNA is prepared inside the cell. What will happen if some small components of the DNA is not copied? Observe the differences or alterations occurred in the sequence of this newly formed DNA. What will happen if this alteration occurs in the germ cells like sperm and egg? The altered DNA in the new cells leads to variations in the traits of next generation. Different colors of eyeballs, different shapes in ear pinna, and differences in the hair color, size, and texture are the examples for variations in humans. Can you give more examples of variations? What will happen if no variations occur in organisms? What would the world be like with humans? The world will be filled with humans identical to each other. After watching this video clip, now you are able to define chromosomes, DNA and genes. Explain the causes for variations. Give examples of variations in humans. Thank you. Let us start the discussion on the video clip that is watched just now. These questions can help the further discussion. How do variations occur? In which type of reproduction is there a greater possibility of the occurrence of variations? During sexual or asexual reproduction? The student would answer that sexual reproduction, because during sexual reproduction, gametes are produced, there is more possibility for DNA alterations when the preparation of these gametes occur, those lead to variations. Hence, sexual reproduction has more possibility for occurrence of variations. What if these variations are drastic? Is there a possibility for survival of the new cell or new organism? For this question, we can answer that, we can give explanation that if the variations are drastic, if the variations are much more in number, the new cell or the new organism cannot tolerate, cannot sustain by these variations. Hence, they would die soon. Now, we can give some more examples, some more information for variations by taking this example of green bushes and beetles. In green colored bushes, there lived some beetles, blue colored beetles. Among the blue colored beetles, there appeared red and green colored beetles also. As they undergo sexual reproduction, due to variations, red and green colored beetles are appeared. Some birds visit the bushes daily to feed on the beetles. Do they have any preferability of a color for feeding? Actually, no. But the green colored beetles has opportunity as they merges within the surroundings. The birds cannot see them and leaving them and search on, move on for other beetles. Now, what about the red color? Do red colored beetles have a choice to survive due to its color? Actually, no. So, green colored variation is useful for the green beetle to survive within the surroundings, but not the variation caused in the red colored beetle give any opportunity for the survival. Hence, we can conclude that some variations are helpful for the organisms to be adapted and survived in the surroundings. Variations caused by the reproduction are useful for the survival of a population over time, because the green colored beetles would sustain more time within the bushes and they have the opportunity to increase their number, their population over time. After getting aware of variations in organisms, we can conclude the exploration phase. As variations occur because of the errors that occur during DNA copying. Variations are more common in sexually reproducing organisms as they produce gametes from two parent individuals. All variations are not useful to organisms. Now, the teacher can encourage the students explore the textual content relevant to the topic. I took the passages from pages 64 and 66. After reading the passage, we can encourage the students to pick some keywords. The students would pick niche and ecosystem as keywords. Now, the explanation phase of 5E lesson. Ecosystem. Ecosystem can be defined as a structural and functional unit of ecology where the living organisms interact with each other and the surrounding environment. Students know about habitat, hence we can vary the habitat and ecosystem also. A habitat is the natural environment where an organism lives, whereas the ecosystem is the community of living organisms. The same habitat can be shared by number of organisms. So there would be some interactions among the living organisms. Those are sharing the same habitat, and there would be some interactions within the physical environment also. Hence, the ecosystem can be studied by observing interactions between living organisms and their environment. So this much of explanation is sufficient for this keyword. And the keyword niche, as this one is the crucial word for this topic, we can give some examples to explain the niche. Niche means the role and position a species occupies in its ecosystem. Niche comprises the habitat the organism selects, the activity patterns, that means during the night time or during the morning time, the organism moves actively for feeding, the resources obtained from the surroundings and their uses, interactions with the other organisms, and the adaptations acquired by the organism, those helpful for sustaining the environment. And the main point that should be emphasized here, that is, no two species can occupy the same niche in the same environment for a long time. How? So we can continue the explanation with the example of a freshwater pond ecosystem. Spot-billed ducks, kingfishers, and egrets share the same habitat, but they are confined to different niche. How? Spot-billed ducks are surface feeders. They find their food by dabbing. Dabbing means submerging their head under water for catching their feed. They use their bill to filter out the edible material from the muddy water. They have adaptations like flat bill that is helpful for feeding, and webbed feet that enables them to swim efficiently in the water. Their preferred feed is aquatic vegetation. They move for the food actively during evening or night times. That means they are nocturnal. Their preferred feed is aquatic vegetation. Indian kingfishers. They are the hunter birds. They hunt on fishes. They do not live in water, but they stand still on the perches besides the water, and they dive from the perches when they see their prey. They are also surface feeders like spot-billed ducks, and their adaptations are exceptional vision and long, sharp, and perfectly streamlined beak. So they are helpful for hunting purpose. And about Indian egrets, these are the bottom feeders. They show some techniques for hunting like stalking. That means slow, deliberate movements or standing motionless still within the water until they catch the fish. They possess the adaptations like long legs for wading, to walking the muddy water, sharp, pointed bills for catching their prey, and excellent eyesight for spotting food in the muddy water. So all these three birds, they share the same habitat, but they confined to different niches by having different feeding habits and by having different adaptations, by having different behaviors, and by having different body sizes also. So, what if the three birds share the same niche within the same habitat? So, some of them are bottom feeders and two of them are surface feeders. Though both of them are surface feeders, that spot-billed duck, its preferred feed is vegetation, but the kingfisher prefers to eat fish. So their feeding habits are completely different. What if their feeding habits, their behaviors and their adaptations are same and they are confined to the same niche? Is there an opportunity for the competition for resources among them? The students would say yes. There would, if they are confined to same niche, they would compete each other for the feeding resources. So this competition will lead to the population loss due to resource scarcity. So we can conclude that the competition among the organisms, those confined to the same niche, will lead to population loss. Hence, no two or more organisms of the same niche will live in the same environment for a long time. Now, exploration phase. During the exploration phase, we can continue the discussion. These birds show different adaptations to survive in the habitat. How are these adaptations determined? So, the three of them have different adaptations, and those adaptations are determined by their genes, isn't it? What in their cells represent the traits like long beak and webbed feet? The students will answer that their genes in DNA or chromosomes are helpful for their adaptations like long beak or webbed feet. Now the question is, as the traits of organisms or adaptations like webbed feet and long beak are determined by the genes in chromosomes, what will happen if the genes are altered due to errors in DNA copying and variations occur? What will happen? Some variations occur in these organisms. How can a spot-billed duck with no webbed feet live in the pond? Can it swim effectively? That means that if the variation occurred in a spot-billed duck, that results they have no webbed feet to swim efficiently within the pond. How can it survive? What the organism, the spot-billed duck, do to survive in the same surroundings? Yes, the students may answer that the spot-billed duck will come out of the pond and moves around the pond for getting their food. Like they move their preferable feeding from vegetation to crustaceans and fishes, as the pond vegetation is not available for the spot-billed duck, isn't it? So the niche will be slowly changed, eventually changed by changing their feeding habitats and by changing their behaviors, isn't it? Hence, we can say that reproduction and the variations those occur during the reproduction can alter the organism's niche. So, reproduction and variations can cause the alteration in the organism's niche. Now, make them to recall the same example of the bushes and the beetles. There are 3 types of colors in the beetles within the bushes, right? So, among these 3 colors, which color, red, green or blue color, is more possibility for survival in the green bushes escaping from the birds? The students will answer that the green colored beetles has the possibility. So, that variation, we can conclude that variations are caused by the reproduction are useful for the survival of a population over time. So, the variations and the reproduction can alter the organism's niche. If the organism's niche is altered, if the 2 organisms are sharing the same niche, that would lead to population loss. Hence, variations and reproduction can cause population loss. And also, the same variations can be useful for the survival of a population over time. Okay, if variations are beneficial, they would helpful for the survival of population over time. If the variations are not useful for the organisms, then the variations may lead to population loss also. So, now coming to evaluation phase of 5E lesson plan. These evaluation questions can give a better feedback for the learning of the topic. What are called variations? Give examples. The second question is, how do variations occur? Variations are more frequent in sexual reproduction. How do you justify your answer? How do variations helpful to organisms in the view of evolution? Let us discuss these questions in the next period, and get the answers through discussion, and encourage the students to write their own answers in the notebook in 2 or 3 lines. So, hope that this class is helpful for you to explain the difficult topic of variations and how variations cause niche alteration and how do variations cause population loss, and how do variations resulting in the survival of organism within the surroundings. So thank you very much.